Pasha Paroh Y Net. Thank you for tuning. We are back with Michaell M, the artist, the author, the system observer. Michaell, how you doing today?
I'm awesome. Love seeing you in red. So that makes me happy because I like red. And yeah, let's do it. Let's see where we're going to go. You have any questions or anything?
Yeah, like I like that we're building off of over our last conversations, systems and their effect thereof
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
communities, people, holistically, internally, externally, nodal points, networks, the whole gambit. So
Mhm.
I think because as above, so below is such a theme, right?
Yeah.
The overall system, whether the greater one is man-made, I mean, not excuse me, not man-made,
Yeah.
and
It's
then
nature and us. Yeah.
right. So man, in attempt to be natural or of nature itself, or to mirror the greater system, it duplicates its own systems within itself and its
It's
social
a lost
structure and
cause.
everything. So
It's a lost cause
so the
because,
system creates a company, right?
yeah, it creates a company, a religion, a state, a country, a hospital, whatever, a system that is created initially to help humans, that humans have more time to explore their limitlessness. And that's why we created initially, that's why we created a tribe. That's why we're creating a family, smallest system, family, then a tribe. So we have more time. So a mother doesn't need to sit with their baby and feed it all day long, but it can give it to another person. They take care of the baby, and she can go in the woods and pick berries or have fun.
Right.
So that's why we created that, so we can explore our humanness more. And now it hits the pivot point where we create too much, we do too much. It is too much of an effort. And we talked about this with the tending to a garden. The effort of tending a garden for two is easy, but if it's for 150 or 200, the effort of tending the garden loses his glamour. It loses his purpose. And we are not aware. We're losing ourselves. We're creating a system that really should help us, and it's a great idea. And no system has a bad intent. But then it grows so much and people become dependent on it. And all of a sudden, the system is more effort than the rewards can be from that system, than the positive for humanity.
So let me ask you this, Mike. The system trying to mirror the system, the natural system, creates a company because, like you said, the people want to go and they have tasks, whether it was
Yeah.
identified as go watch, tend to the youth, or go collect food. There was task oriented, right? So then more people wanted to have their time free of tasks. So companies were formed, whether they were sole individuals at the very
Yeah.
beginning and or groups of people in the very beginning, and then they
Mhm.
expanded their processes and styles and became companies that grew larger, whether they were 50 people or 500,000
Yeah.
nationwide, globally, whatever. And then those
Yeah.
companies wanted to become more efficient in delivering their task of freeing the people from task. So the
Yeah.
company requires a structure, which then is in turn its own system. And here
Yeah.
we are back at systems again within the company.
Yeah. Subsystems. That's like, I mean, they had to look at what they did with humans. They said gender, race, and generational gender, like they used the Generation Z, Generations Y, baby boomers. They separated us so they could handle us. And now it became too complicated, and it became also stereotypes. Boomers are so this way. Generation Z is about this. Generation Y is about this. It's all stereotypical, which in nature there is no stereotypical. Not in nature. It's not like a generation is just zebras. It's just it's all mixtures. It's all part of humanity. It's a species, and they're interspecies. They're not worried about, oh my God, I'm a zebra and that's a giraffe. They're all a part of the whole of nature. We are one of those species, but for some reason we want to pull ourselves out and say, no, we are not that. We are better. And we are right to say, oh, nature is so powerful, you can't really destroy nature. No, you can't. Because nature, even if you destroy it, it regrows, it readapts, it readjusts. But you can destroy nature for the habitat for humans. So you can look at Beijing, look at the Olympics. They couldn't even hold the Olympics because they couldn't breathe. We have impact, and we can dirty the atmosphere up. Nature doesn't care. It adjusts, adapts, it changes. Animals go to another place, but humans are not even aware of anything. So even in the tsunami, all the animals, almost no animals died, but all humans died because they're so out of touch. And they seem,
watch the animals, they be gone.
Yeah, they be gone. Exactly. Why not watching the animals? They are a different species, but they're also from us. They're also from nature. They're not in a creation of us,
So Mike, I like that you're sharing the connection with nature, because it brings me into a great segue for my next question.
Yeah.
The company requires structure. It's whether it's trying to mirror the greater system or not, it develops its own system. That actually has effect on, because now that becomes the environment, which we mentioned in the last conversation, for the people that are in, which has an effect on their body and then their structure internally of their body themselves. So the company structure requires man, which includes man or woman, and woman, to be absent from its natural structure, the interaction with nature, or just the freedom to live and pursue happiness completely. So I think what happens is there's a traumatic relationship there, because the youth of the current generation, right, is witness to what they consciously or subconsciously registers as abuse, because the company structure requires man and woman to be absent from its natural structure, the family, the habitat, the world, right? And I think, do you see a parallel, compare and contrast for me the causes that this may cause, or effects that this may have on the next generation, now seeing structure itself as the enemy, and its relation to like why people are saying it's hard to find talent, or people staying at workplaces right now, if the generation is being led to see structure and company structure and systems as the enemy?
I think they don't see it as, that's falsely, if it's the enemy. They're just not aware that other humans created those structures. They're just blind, and so they're angry at the IRS, for example. That doesn't help anybody. You need to be aware that a company, in order to be always cheaper, bigger, better, faster, is gonna clamp down, because they're based on financial principle, to clamp down on humans, because humans don't work static. That we talked about that. Humans don't work static. They need sleep. They need to relax. They need interaction with other human beings, like you and I do. They need that. That is a part of existing as in our species. We're a social animal. We are not a work animal. We're a social, and in that social animal, we're working. It's not like there is no laziness in the animal kingdom. Everybody has its work, and everybody has its place, and everybody knows its place. But humans have lost that. We lost it, and that discord between static, a system works 24/7. It needs to be more, better every quarter. It needs to create more, better, faster, cheaper. And then if people say, yeah, but I want to get more money, or that doesn't work with the financial principle of any system. You cannot say that the system needs every quarter needs cheaper, faster, more, bigger. Or yeah, so but humans don't work like that. Every quarter you need to make more money. That's what kills you is you fix that, you get the goal of a quarter. You reach the goal of a quarter. The whole team gets it. You and I, we just got it. We hit it on the thing. And then we start again over. It's not a balance. It's a race. It's not a, human nature and humans work with balance. That's why we need to sleep. But when you work in a system, when you experience your humanity within a system, which we all do, we are born in a hospital, we get religion is a system, we go to school as a system. So we experience humanity. Our experience of life is humanity through the system. So it's not like we are, we have, everybody has a little hut and we have a tribe and everybody's happy and it's not about financial, it's just about surviving, weathering the storm, make sure everybody has a roof on the over their heads and has enough to eat. But it's not. We have other ideals, other targets, other goals we include. When you are living in a system, all of a sudden you need to think about the future. How are you going to retire? How are you going to do this? Where you're coming from? What is your background? I mean, it's all this bullshit, that all these mind constructs that just take human energy. And let's be honest, whatever is money, nothing is from AI itself cannot create money, even though it just can't. It's always you use AI to get human to do something, and that human energy, that human contribution, that human creativity makes some money. Money is just a transfer of human duty. You raise a chicken, and that's your energy. You're raising a chicken.
The energy,
and
yeah.
I create a hammer, right? With my work. It's a human. And then we can't change it because we don't want to hammer a chicken. We use money. But every money is still based on that.
So we look at the concept of money being the exchange of energy and stored labor, then we could see how AI or slash the machine world produces the exchange of money, not that it produces money itself. But my question to you is this now, because you mentioned some great things earlier about when you were like, everyone at some point in time, everyone knew their place, and now we're beyond that, like the place in the structure, in the system, and they were able to, in my interpretation, why you said what your context at that point, it was because like the tribal unit, the family unit, when things were smaller, different, the balance of compensation versus labor was more fair and just. The household family structure, like this is my expanded infinity of what that means. The family structure supported people knowing their roles in leadership. See, like part of the thing now is with there not being, and this is all cultures, with there not being fathers in the household, the youth, the next generation has naturally less respect for leadership at the workplace because they're not used to having, they're not shown the value of a leadership position in relation to their role in the system, right? So there's a bunch of reasons why the people as a whole are like fucking tired of having jobs, period. No matter, you got doctors quitting, you got people at McDonald's quitting. It don't matter what position, how much they're making. This is the vibration we're going into, because people energetically are getting, whether they know it or not, more aligned with, like you said, the
natural way. The natural way.
So here's my thing. So here's my thing. Considering the fact that the workforce itself, in some way, shape, or the system of that financial work related system creates some sort of trauma in everybody, we could say. Every single body is facing some sort of trauma that they're dealing with in relationship to that system. Whether it's the fear of someone doing better than them, or it's the fear of not having food to feed themselves, or reliving the situation from when you were homeless in your mind when things are good and your family's doing well, but you still have those memories. Anyway, whatever it is for different people, everybody has something. Not getting the best sale. Is this the right jeans to buy? They're suffering from some sort of trauma because of the overstimulus of the failing system. So that's where I'm tying it in when I say, in translation, the people have been conditioned now to see the system, the structure, the inner workings as the enemy, whether they realize it consciously or subconsciously or not.
Yeah, they're just feeling on an energetic level, I don't want to go to work. Right. I don't want to do this. I don't think it's worth it that I work and just make enough money to survive. In the old days, our grandparents, right? They worked hard. They didn't work not hard. I mean, you can say, oh my God, my grandparents didn't work hard. They worked hard, but they made enough money to live. Now it became, because the systems get more efficient always, it became you work to survive. And that is too much stress. It's not like you can't put money in the bank as a savings. You don't even know if the savings are going to be there, if the bank doesn't collapse and get bailed out by this stuff, because systems always need other system to bail them out. No human gets bailed out. If I want to kill somebody, I go to jail. But huge companies can do it. In war, and there's an injustice that every human feels. Why can a country kill other people, or put somebody on a death penalty, and why can I not kill somebody else? Why can I not just go to my neighbor and blow his head off? That's because it's just the system is rigid and it's not fluid, and it puts people into place. You are this, I am this, and therefore I am this. And the sad thing of this whole thing is that there was something I wanted to tell you. You said the right thing. We are unconscious of this, but we can't find, because we are distracted all the time, we cannot find our
remedies,
puzzle piece that we are, and that's, but we have in the DNA, we're built in, from 0 to 7, you learn how to be a human, what it means to be a human, to eat, to learn to eat, to walk, to be with other social human beings, how to interact, and then you learn how to unveil yourself from 7 or 8 on. What is your puzzle piece? First, you learn to be a human, because you got to be a human first, and then say, what is my puzzle piece? And you learn it from 7 to 8 till you're 20, and then you get a job and keep learning more and more, unveiling who Pasha or Michaell is. And you learn, and when you're on target, the rest of humanity will recognize that. Oh, these guys are for this guy's for that. It's like in nature. The elephant doesn't think, oh my God, the ant is less worth. The ant is working and doing, and the elephant is doing, and both work. And because both are, and there is no hierarchy, there's no racism, there's no sexism, there's no gender. It all works together in harmony, and there's no laziness. And humans have forgotten that. And because we are part of nature, and I keep saying this because I think it's worth repeating. In nature, the science even, the best scientist says there's no surplus, there's no waste. It's always self-regulating nature, and we are part of it. And when in nature you exist, you are valuable. And the other lie is, there's no living being on this planet that doesn't have challenges. But that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice, you have to suffer all the time. You are a living being, your existence means you're challenged. No matter if you're rich, poor, wealthy, famous, it doesn't matter. You are challenged, whatever, because it's a part of being alive, is being a living being. Any fungus, any plant has stress, certain, but that is healthy stress that keeps you alive, versus the static stress. And now I bring that together because what you asked me, the static stress, not of nature. There's no static stress. That you just adapt, constantly adapting, like you're constantly changing. But in systems, it's always the same. You got to do this faster, more thing, and better, less mistakes. We find more ways out to suppress you, to say, "Oh, you made a mistake there, Pasha. We need to give you this job training that you get better, that you get better for the system, not better for yourself." See, in nature, you do the best that you can because that's what you are. And in human, there's this all hierarchy, and that's why I say we all have value because we exist and we are part of nature still. And we don't see that anymore. We have lost that. We don't see that every human being, no matter how disabled, how screwed up, what a drunk or druggie, is valuable to show us something in the human
Absolutely.
fabric.
I think that's very true. Everything has all of us have value, and it's a matter of perception, and that's actually why, like you said, the money. Well, that's going back to when you said talking about money. That's why money exists in our. It's because of the inborn value of the human
system,
being in the system.
Yeah.
The human being's worth to the system has some intrinsic value by default. Now, the question here, speak on this for me, because we've covered kind of like I like that I gave you some questions because I'm carrying us through a little journey here. And I wanted to get to the part of every cycle where, one, we can't say that this is how it is for all people. We know that there are parts of everybody that's going through this very moment that we're speaking of. Thus, they're living all through some sort of collapse of experience as a byproduct of the system. This is the journey we've gone through, and so far, and we've got to the point where now, because the people are going to be seeing the system or the structure itself as the enemy. Thus, we're experiencing various collapses, minor, major, temporary, but all leading to permanent, or at least for them in that moment, it'll feel permanent as a product of the system itself, and the conditions are exponential. So, speak of that part of the cycle of system and nature balance.
Okay, I say be clear when you say value, because I say the best definition in words, which are very limited, is every human has worth. One, like the elephant isn't worth more than an ant. We all have worth, but we have monopoly system values. That system, when you play the system of monopoly, which we all play because we need to have money, in the system of monopoly, the beggar has zero value. But outside of the monopoly, he is the same value as Elon Musk. You know, in nature, and we need to be cognizant of that. We need to understand, look, in the monopoly system, you're a beggar, you're a loser, you're lazy, you're all the crap. But I'm pulling you out of that. And as a human, you are worth one, like everyone else. You exist, and therefore you are worthy. And nature doesn't make mistakes. So as long as we count ourselves to nature, we are worthy, and we are worthy, and because we exist. That's the proof. That's the proof. We are worthy that because we exist, but we have in the monopoly system, because there is no worthy, there's only what is your system value that you can generate for the system, for the monopoly. And there is a different value. And then I think the healing is to compartmentalize those two and say, am I now upset because I can't pay my rent? Or am I upset because I'm losing my friend? He's dying. Those are fundamentally different things, you know? Mm-hmm. Losing the friend is a general grief. Can't pay your rent is you're not efficient for systems. Your system navigation is off. And if you just can compartmentalize that, that frees you up in being human. When you know, no matter how screwed you up you're in a system, you are worthy because you, and yours is to find that worthiness, to find what puzzle piece of the system you are. Because the proof is in the pudding. You exist, you are worthy. But
the fact that we exist and that we're makes us worthy is exactly what I think we need to look at.
Exactly.
When it comes to the financial system itself, because the financial system within the greater system, okay? Yeah. It's something I've spoke about and around for a while. And because you're born, because you exist, life is prepaid. If this was pure nature, you arrive here, boom. Everything you want is around you. Everything you need is around you. You got to put in some effort, sure. You got to put in some effort.
Yeah.
Now, the translation of that, there's currency exchange because there's no money in circulation at all since the 30s.
Yeah.
But most people don't know the definition of money lawfully, so they think that their money is today when it's not. I mean, I can say most people, many people do. Yeah. So you have to put in some sort of effort, and the currency exchange is the stored labor to be that effort for you if you want to go back to the beginning of this video and pay a company to free you of that task. But with there being no money in circulation and life is prepaid, there's got to be some sort of connection there. When you made mention of you can compartmentalize the financial aspect, people could actually return to being human because you'll be free to explore yourself. Like if you wanted to go and explore this or go and try that, you should just be able to do it regardless if it's just going to your favorite restaurant or a new restaurant to try a food, or if you want to take a shot at being the Wright brothers. It should be prepaid for you to go and do so that you can actually maximize your experience within the system. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think it doesn't even need to be that generous. I think every human being, because we are part of nature, and so we have to fake nature, because nature, all species know what they do, what they're supposed to do. An ant knows what they need to do. An elephant wants to not be a financial expert. You know, an elephant does what an elephant does. And then an ant does what an ant does. And a human should do what a human does. But it should be that we have enough money, and there is enough money, so we don't have to prove that either. We have enough money, enough food, that everybody has a shelter, that everybody has food, that everybody has enough money to survive, study, do whatever. But if the person says, you know, I just am happy sitting under a tree all my life, I have enough, it should be in nature that is okay. In the system, it's not okay, but in nature it is. So if I want more than, because let's say I want to be under the tree, but you don't. So you say, it's okay, Michael, that's what, and there's no judgment, right? You just say, but I want to be the next Jay-Z. I want to go into the Monopoly game, you know, in that game, and I want to try it out. How I do. If I do it, good. If I don't, no. But I think I learn more about myself in the Monopoly game. That's free to you. And if you lose all the money and you're not going to be like Jay-Z, you go back and sit under the tree, or you try something else. And I believe that we can structure systems to be supporting to us that we are closer to nature as a species of nature than being a human that is conditioned by systems that they created. It's insanity.
So, Michael, I really appreciate the dynamics of this conversation. I know, I know you're speaking of one thing, and I'm using that as a parallel. I do that often. So, what I want to identify here is, in this course of our last couple conversations, and I've been exploring the traumatic experience, the trauma involved. But what we just identified here is we got this document that supposedly creates a system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Called the Declaration of Independence.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you think it's for you personally or it's for a corporation or some other entity, what we have to do here is look at this, because it's the Declaration of Independence. It kind of defines what independent is. And it states this quote in there about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. So we got about 5 minutes left here. So if the system created was based on the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, yet everything is restrictive and not free flowing. The gas pumps aren't free flowing when you need gas unless you meet the prerequisite. Education for those who want education isn't free flowing unless you meet the prerequisites.
Mm-hmm.
The hierarchy of controls is actually restricting the progress of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. Can we agree to that?
Absolutely.
What's your take on that?
In systems, I think the problem with this is, first of all, success is a success, and happiness is kind of a word in between. It's about, I say, the best translation of success of systems is a system definition. I think the best translation is fulfillment in the human realm. If you are fulfilled, and I think that's what the forefathers wanted, pursuit of happiness. One of the things, how the hell can you fulfill yourself? That your life is fulfilled. And I think it's still, I mean, it's the best when all the research says that democracy is the highest till now. We haven't created a new one, but till now, democracy is the highest form of human being humans, where humans can be humans, you know? But that's what everybody says. You know, I mean, that's what all the research.
That's what they say. That's the implied. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Everybody's saying democracy is the, which freedom of speech, and you can say what you want, and it's a consensus.
That's actually not democracy. See, that's why. Okay, so real quick,
I'm not a specialist. I'm not a system specialist.
That's cool. But it ties in here, and you make a great point that represents what millions of people live with and view every day. But the reality is, democracy is not our situation here is actually a republic. Mm-hmm. If you recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the republic for which it stands. So there's already a traumatic disorder, disease in association with democracy and republic, because people have misconstrued what the democracy can operate within a republic, but the republic can't operate in a democracy. So you can have a company, and that's just like having a democracy. It's you have to obey the little rules of that little mob to be a part of that mob, i.e. the videos we just had on the channel about being authentic. Okay. Yeah. Now, you bring a good point, because what I wanted to close with is I want you to give a closing remark on this, and this sets us up for maybe the next conversation, because what you spoke on when you were like fulfilling yourself, people trying to fulfill themselves, we spoke on the trauma of being incomplete, feeling incomplete, the exploitation of resources to create lack and scarcity to help fuel that trauma. And people are addicted to it, and they're revisit the sensation, to replay the experience because of chemical stuff in their body, because of that, to form that addiction. So this sets us up for what the value of universal basic income is. Take about 30 seconds here and close in and give your closing thoughts on that, and we can segue into the next.
I think the it's all a shame because we like you said the key word, financial principles work for the financial principle. They're not working for humans. They constantly create a lack. They repeat, you get a quarter and then you're in lack because you have to get the next quarter, and that has to be higher. So humans believe they're not worthy anything, and they're shamed. And how do you do shame? With addiction. It's your numbing agent, you know, and there's your answer for the the pain that people go through, and why they're addicted to drugs or whatever, because they think it's right that they're not worthy. They have no worth. They think it's right. And the financial said, no, we do more, better, faster. And today, you know, you just wait for the next, a girlfriend is like a new iPhone. You have a girlfriend and you just wait for the next model, you know,
Money,
and if
money,
it's
money.
outdated, it's here, you know?
So, Mike, I appreciate your time today. Say bye to the people.
Thanks, guys, for listening. I appreciate it.
Always the perfect day. Pasha Paroh Y Net 7. Thank you for tuning.